Alright, welcome back everybody. So today I'm going to be showing you how you can create this video inside text title sequence that transitions seamlessly back into the original video. Without further ado, let's jump right into the video. Okay, so as you can see here, I've already got my timeline opened up. I have a couple of different videos. The one that we're currently viewing is the one that I'm going to be using for the video within the title. Underneath it is the background. And then I have one here that I'm just going to transition into afterwards. Okay, so as you probably guessed, we're going to be working with Fusion. So just make sure the video clip that you want to be within the text is highlighted in red, and then click on the Fusion tab. I'm just going to shrink this down just so we can see a little bit more of the workspace. And the first thing we're going to do is create that title. So all I have to do is click on the text plus button up here, and that'll bring up the text plus node. So what I'm going to write is the word welcome. And I'm going to do that in all capitals just because that's going to fill up a little bit more of the screen, and we're going to get a little bit more of that video coming through. Now when it comes time to selecting a font, what you're going to want is one that takes up as much screen as possible, basically. So really thick blocky letters, and as you can see, Impact does that pretty well. I'm going to increase the size until it takes up as much of the screen as we possibly can get it to do, so something like that. And just to make it take up even more of the screen, I'm going to stretch the letters vertically, and to do that I just have to go to the transform section, double click on size, and then just from experience I know that if I change that to a 2, it's going to increase it to a pretty good size for what we're doing today. And then we can move that back down by adjusting the pivot. Perfect. So now that it's roughly centered, what we can do is create an outline around this. And you'll see why in just a second. We're not going to be using it for the actual masking, but we're going to use it in some other layers that we're going to be creating. So to do that, we have to click on this shading section, change the elements to 2, and click enable. That's going to create a red border, and to change that, just click on the color, pick black or white or whatever other color you want to use, and hit OK. I'm going to increase the thickness just a little bit, just so it stands out a little bit more later, and that's what we're going to be working with. So quickly, I'm just going to copy this and paste it 2 times, just because we are going to be using 3 different copies of the same text within this video intro sequence. From here, we'll take the original one that we made. We're actually going to turn off the outline, and then from the output, just click it and drag that onto the input of our original video. Alright, so now what we have is the text, and it's masking the video. As you can see, if I move it around, the video is playing in the background, but it doesn't look very good, and it's a little bit hard to read in my opinion. So that's why I want to add back that black border. To do that, this is why we created that second copy of the text. So all we have to do is click the output of that second text, bring it to the output of the media in, and it's going to create a node. It's going to create a merge node, but it's going to do it backwards from the way that we want. So to change that around, we just have to move off the arrows and then click the media output, move that to the green foreground arrow, and move the text output to the background. And there we have it. That simple to create that the border around the text. Now it's a little bit thick, so I'm just going to go back into the shading section and just turn that down a tiny little bit there. And because I've adjusted it there, I'm just going to delete that text node, copy that one, and make a new one. Now in the intro of the video, I had the words welcome fade into the video playing in the background, and as you can see in Fusion, there really isn't an an alpha channel or a blend that you can just animate very easily. So that's why we actually have to create a third copy of this. And then what we're going to do is take this script. I'm going to link the original source from where I found this on the DaVinci Resolve forum, so you can copy and paste this in yourself. But basically what this script is going to allow us to do, if we copy that and paste it in, is allow us to basically add an opacity or a transform to essentially any single node that we want to. So for our use, what we're going to do is take that text that we just copied. We're going to take the output and put it into the input of the opacity transform. And then we're going to merge the output of the opacity transform with the media in one. And what this is going to do is create another merge node, and I'm just going to move that down here so it looks a little bit nicer. All right, so now it's time to start animating. So what I'm going to do is go to the opacity transform, and I'm going to go 60 frames forward in this. And to do that precisely, we can just go over to the right side here, type in 60, and that'll move our playhead to exactly where we want it. I'm going to create a key point there for our blend. And then I'm going to go, let's say another 60 frames. Actually, let's make it a little quicker. Let's go just 30 more frames to frame 90. And I'm going to bring the blend all the way down. What this is going to do is create a linear style of opacity transition, and this isn't something that I like. So to turn that into a Bezier style curve, we just have to click this spline button in the top right corner. From there, just make sure that the opacity that we created is actually turned on. And just to zoom in a little bit, I'm going to click on this zoom to fit button. All right, from there, I'm just going to make sure everything is highlighted and click on the S button on my keyboard to create that Bezier style curve. I'm going to drag that out a little bit just to make it transition a little bit faster. And I think that's probably going to be pretty good for what we're doing. So I'm going to turn the spline back off so we have a little more room to work with. Now if I drag this back out, we can see that there's going to be that Bezier style curve. And that's exactly what we want. So from there, I'm going to go to maybe around frame 180. And if you remember in the intro title sequence, I actually had this seamlessly transition into the background video. And to do that, we're going to need to get rid of this border around the text. So what we're going to do is go back into our opacity transform, copy everything again, and just Control V to paste that back in. Now this one is going to go between the background text and merge node number 1. So we just have to unlink those, move that background outline layer to the input of the opacity transform, and move that back onto the merge 1. And from there, it's basically going to be a repeat of what we did last time. Click on the opacity, turn the blend all the way up, and then I'll go forward. How many frames did I do last time? 30. So I'll do another 30 and go to frame 210, create another keyframe and turn that all the way down. We'll go back into the spline. We'll make sure that only the newest one is selected by clicking on these buttons right here to get rid of the old one. And then we can click on this zoom button, highlight everything, hit S, and drag that out a little bit just so the animation happens a little bit faster. And that's going to work. And from there, we've pretty much created the base of the animation. So if we were to play this back from the beginning, we can see it does everything that we needed to do. So now that that's completed, we can go back into the Edit tab and we can actually start working on animating this the way that I had it in the intro. So first thing we're going to do is highlight both of these videos, the one with the fusion composition that we just made and the one that's coming after it, and we're going to move that up one video layer. From there, drag and drop another copy of the original video underneath, and find the point to where the words start to fade out. So that seems like it's about the point. And from there, we can take the video that isn't the animated words and just drag it back down to the playhead. Now we have the letters, fades, and then just abruptly cuts off. So to get rid of that, we can open up our effects library, find the cross dissolve, and place that on top. And now what we can see is a bit more of a smoother movement, but it's not quite right. So I'm just going to extend this substantially longer than what it does by default. And if we play this back, we get that completely seamless transition. And that's the basis of it. And if you wanted to spice it up a little like I had, what we can do is move that back a little bit, move everything up by a layer, and then we can add another cross dissolve at the beginning of this video. So it's going to add that welcome in as a nice smooth curve. And another thing that I did in the intro is actually turn down the background layer. So what I did was, when this started to transition from the white lettering into the background video, I added a solid color, and I changed that to black, and I turned down the opacity by going to the settings and turning it down to about 40. From there, again, as you probably guessed, we go back to the video transitions, add a couple of cross dissolves at the beginning, and add another one just before the cross dissolve point where everything starts to blend back into the seamless cut there that we created. And now if we play this back, we're going to see it gets a little bit darker, and then it brightens up right before that transition. And there we have it. That's how you create both the video playing within text, as well as how to use it in a seamless sort of a transition on a title sequence for a video. And if this was helpful, let me know in the comments section below, as well as letting me know what you'd like to see in future episodes. I'd like to create content that you want to see, so let me know what it is that you want to see. And until next time, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Bye now.